The massive observation deck of the research vessel Horizon stretched before Dr. Sarah Chen like a window into infinity. Beyond the reinforced transparent panels, the silent fleet hung motionless against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars, their sleek hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. 17 ships, each larger than anything humanity had ever constructed, discovered purely by chance when a routine survey mission detected their gravitational signature in an unremarkable sector of space. Another negative response on all frequencies, announced Dr. Peddle from his communication station. Whatever these ships are, they're completely dormant. Sarah pressed her hand against the cold surface of the observation window, studying the nearest vessel. Its design defied conventional engineering principles, organic curves blending seamlessly with geometric patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. 3 months of intensive study had yielded more questions than answers. The quantum signature readings are still active, she noted, gesturing to the holographic display floating beside her. They're not dead. They're waiting. Behind her, Ambassador Xereth of the Galactic Council made a sound that their translation matrix rendered as skepticism. The tall, crystalline being's surface rippled with patterns of doubt. Waiting for what, Dr. Chen? The Combined Sciences Division has deployed our most advanced activation protocols. The ships remain unresponsive. Sarah turned from the window, facing the assembled team of human and alien scientists. The discovery of the silent fleet had drawn researchers from across known space, each species bringing their own theories and technologies. Each had failed to wake the sleeping giants. "We're missing something fundamental," she insisted, pulling up the latest scan results. "Look at these energy patterns. They're not random. They're responding to something. We just haven't figured out what that something is." The ship's AI chimed in, its holographic avatar materializing beside the main display. "Dr. Chen, I've completed the analysis you requested. There's a correlation you should see." The air filled with complex data streams, but Sarah's attention focused on one particular pattern. Every time a human researcher had approached the ships, there had been minute fluctuations in the quantum field surrounding the vessels. The changes were almost imperceptible, dismissed as background noise by most of the team. But Sarah had spent her career studying the impossible, learning to see patterns where others saw chaos. "There," she pointed, expanding the relevant section of data. "The ships aren't just dormant. They're scanning us. Every approach, every attempt at communication, they've been gathering data. Learning." Ambassador Xereth's crystalline form shifted colors, indicating intense interest. "Learning what exactly?" "I think," Sarah said slowly, her mind racing ahead of her words, "they're trying to determine if we're the right ones to wake them up." The observation deck erupted in discussion, multiple species talking at once as their translation matrices struggled to keep up. Sarah turned back to the window, studying the silent behemoths beyond. In her mind, she could almost feel them watching, waiting, judging. "Dr. Chen," the ship's AI interrupted her thoughts. "I'm detecting an anomaly in the quantum field surrounding the nearest vessel. It appears to be responding to your presence." Sarah's heart raced as she watched new data scroll across her neural interface. The ships weren't just machines. They were something far more complex. And somehow they had recognized something in humanity that all the advanced technologies of the Galactic Council had missed. "I need a shuttle," she announced, cutting through the ongoing debate, "and volunteers who are willing to test a theory that's either brilliant or completely insane." Ambassador Xereth's translation matrix crackled with alarm. "You intend to approach the vessels directly, without protection?" Sarah smiled, her eyes fixed on the mysterious ships. "Sometimes, Ambassador, the most advanced technology in the universe is the human mind. And I think that's exactly what these ships have been waiting for." The shuttle bay of the Horizon hummed with nervous energy as Sarah's team made their final preparations. The small research vessel looked fragile against the backdrop of the massive alien ship they were about to approach. Dr. Marcus Rivera, the team's neurologist, adjusted the settings on the prototype neural interface wrapped around Sarah's head. "The quantum field readings are stronger than ever," he reported, eyes fixed on his diagnostics panel. "Whatever these ships are sensing in human brainwave patterns, they're definitely interested in you, Sarah." The neural interface was a desperate gamble, cobbled together from human medical technology and modified fragments of alien communication systems. Its delicate sensors were designed to amplify the subtle quantum resonance they detected between human consciousness and the mysterious vessels. "Ambassador Xerith thinks we're insane," Sarah commented, watching the crystalline being confer with other council representatives through the shuttle bay's observation window. "Maybe we are." Marcus secured the final connection. "The Council's been trying to wake these ships for 3 months using the most advanced technology in known space. Maybe it's time for something less advanced but more intuitive." The shuttle systems came online, its hybrid human-alien technology creating a soft harmonic hum. Sarah settled into the pilot's seat, feeling the neural interface adjust to her movements. In the co-pilot's chair, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum mechanics expert, monitored the complex array of sensors they'd installed. "Remember," Yuki cautioned, "we're not just looking for basic responses. If your theory is correct, these ships were designed to interface directly with consciousness itself. The implications are—" She trailed off, shaking her head in wonder. The shuttle glided out of the bay, thrusters firing in precise bursts as they approached the nearest ship of the silent fleet. Up close, its hull seemed to ripple with impossible patterns, like the surface of a soap bubble, but solid and eternal. Sarah felt her heart racing as they drew closer, the neural interface picking up the subtle changes in her brain activity. "Quantum field intensity increasing," Yuki reported, her voice tight with excitement. "The ship is definitely reacting to our presence. These readings, they're unlike anything in our database." Sarah guided the shuttle into position near what they believed to be an entry point, though no visible airlock or docking mechanism was apparent. The neural interface hummed against her skin, and suddenly she felt something. Not quite a voice, not quite a thought, but a presence. "There's definitely a response pattern forming in the neural link," Marcus announced, but his voice seemed distant. Sarah closed her eyes, focusing on the strange sensation. It was like trying to remember a dream, images and concepts floating just at the edge of consciousness. The ship's hull began to change. What had appeared solid moments before now shifted like liquid metal, patterns of light racing across its surface in complex geometric forms. The shuttle sensors erupted with activity as energy readings spiked across all frequencies. "Sarah," Yuki's voice was barely a whisper, "look at the quantum entanglement patterns. They're synchronizing with your neural activity. It's not just responding to human consciousness, it's trying to communicate." The presence in Sarah's mind grew stronger. Images flashed through her consciousness, strange worlds, impossible technologies, and a sense of vast time passing. The neural interface struggled to process the incoming data, translating alien concepts into something her human brain could comprehend. "Multiple quantum fields detected," Yuki reported, her fingers flying across her console. "The other ships, they're all activating. Whatever you're doing, Sarah, it's working." But Sarah barely heard her. The presence in her mind was becoming clearer, resolving itself into something almost like language. Not words, but pure concepts, flowing directly into her consciousness. The ships hadn't been waiting for the right technology to wake them. They'd been waiting for the right kind of minds. They were looking for something specific, she managed to say, her voice distant to her own ears. Not just intelligence, but creativity, adaptability. Human consciousness isn't just compatible with their systems, it's what they were designed for. The hull before them continued to shift, and now they could see an opening forming, the impossible material flowing like water to create an entrance. Beyond it, lights began to flicker to life, systems dormant for untold ages awakening at last. "We need to contact the horizon," Marcus said, his scientific detachment warring with obvious excitement. "The Council needs to see this. Everything we thought we knew about advanced technology, about the limits of human potential, it's all about to change. Sarah nodded absently, her attention still focused on the growing connection. Through the neural interface, she could sense the ship's vast systems coming online, its consciousness expanding, reaching out to hers with something that felt almost like joy. "No," she corrected softly, "everything's about to begin." The interior of the alien vessel defied conventional understanding. Corridors shifted and reformed as Sarah's team moved deeper into its depths, guided by the increasingly strong neural connection. The air itself seemed alive with possibility, filled with dancing motes of light that responded to their presence. "The ship's internal architecture is adapting to our biology," Yuki observed, watching as another passage reconstructed itself before them. "It's not just accommodating us, it's learning from us." Sarah nodded, the neural interface now feeling like a natural extension of her consciousness. Through it, she could sense the vessel's vast networks of quantum-entangled systems, each one slowly awakening from millennia of dormancy. But more than that, she could feel its purpose, burning like a star in her mind. "They're not just ships," she announced, stopping before a chamber that seemed to pulse with internal light. "They're seeds." The chamber doors dissolved, revealing a vast spherical space filled with holographic displays unlike anything human or council technology had ever produced. Images of distant galaxies, strange celestial phenomena, and impossible mathematical equations floated in the air around them. Marcus stepped forward, his medical sensors struggling to process the readings from Sarah's neural interface. "Seeds for what?" "For civilization itself," Sarah breathed, understanding flowing through the neural link. The beings who built these ships, they didn't just want to explore space. They wanted to find species capable of carrying their legacy forward, not by conquering or replacing them, but by growing with them. A notification chimed through their comm systems. Ambassador Xerith's voice crackled with unusual emotion. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting massive energy signatures from all 17 vessels. The entire fleet is activating. What have you discovered?" Before Sarah could respond, a new presence touched her mind through the neural interface. Not the ship's systems this time, but something deeper, more fundamental. A message, weighted for untold ages, began to unfold in her consciousness. "They called themselves the predecessors," she said, her voice filled with wonder as the information cascaded through her mind. "They achieved technological singularity millions of years ago, but they discovered something crucial about consciousness itself. Pure machine intelligence, no matter how advanced, lacks certain qualities: creativity, intuition, the ability to make impossible leaps of logic." The chamber around them transformed, showing images of distant worlds and ancient civilizations. They seeded the galaxy with these ships, each one containing the sum total of their knowledge and technology. But they couldn't be activated by just any species. They needed to find minds that could bridge the gap between organic creativity and technological precision. "Human minds," Marcus whispered, understanding dawning on his face. Sarah nodded. "Human consciousness exists in a unique state, rational enough to understand advanced technology, but intuitive enough to transcend its limitations. The ships weren't dormant. They were testing every species they encountered, looking for this specific quality." Suddenly, alarms blared through their comm systems. Ambassador Xerith's voice returned, now urgent. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting multiple ships entering the system. The hegemony has learned of the fleet's activation. They're claiming salvage rights under galactic law." The hegemony, an alliance of technologically advanced species who believed in controlling access to advanced technology. Their arrival complicated everything. Through the neural link, Sarah could feel the ship's response to the threat, its systems offering possibilities. "The predecessors knew this might happen," she said, watching as new information flowed through the holographic displays. "They left us more than just technology. They left us a choice." The chamber's displays shifted, showing the true extent of the fleet's capabilities. These weren't just vessels of exploration. They were repositories of power beyond anything the Council or Hegemony had ever wielded. Power that could reshape civilizations, for better or worse. The Hegemony ships are taking up attack positions, Kazurith reported. They're demanding immediate surrender of the fleet. Sarah felt the weight of millions of years of history pressing down on her through the neural interface. The predecessors had waited all this time to find species worthy of their legacy. Now humanity's first test would be deciding how to use it. Tell the Hegemony, she said, watching as the ship's systems responded to her thoughts, that the fleet is no longer dormant, and its new pilots would like to negotiate. The Hegemony's warships hung in space like dark stars, their weapon systems pulsing with barely contained energy. Through the neural interface, Sarah could feel the predecessor ship's response. Not fear, but a kind of patient expectation. As if this moment, too, had been anticipated millions of years ago. They're powering up their main batteries, Yuki reported, studying the sensor readings. Hegemony battle doctrine. They'll demand surrender 3 times, then open fire. The neural interface hummed with possibility. Sarah could feel the ship's defensive systems, capabilities that made the Hegemony's weapons look like children's toys. With a thought, she could end this confrontation before it began. But that wasn't what the predecessors had waited all this time to find. This is Admiral Kex of the Hegemony Defense Force. A new voice crackled through their communications. The technology you have accessed belongs under Hegemony protection. Surrender control of the fleet immediately. Sarah shared a look with her team. Marcus nodded grimly, while Yuki's fingers danced across her quantum sensors, confirming what the neural interface was already telling them. The entire fleet was now fully awake, 17 vessels of impossible power, all waiting for humanity's first real decision. Admiral Kex, Sarah responded, letting the ship's communication systems carry her voice. I am Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth. The fleet you're attempting to claim isn't salvage or abandoned technology. It's a legacy, and it has chosen its inheritors. Through the neural interface, she could feel the other ships responding, their systems linking together in ways that defied conventional physics. The predecessors hadn't built a fleet. They'd built a network, a vast web of interconnected consciousness waiting for the right minds to step into it. The Hegemony cannot allow unregulated access to advanced technology. Hex replied, their translator making the words sound like grinding metal. The potential for disruption is exactly what the predecessors intended. Sarah interrupted. The chamber around them shifted, displaying the true scope of what they'd been given. They didn't hide these ships to prevent change, Admiral. They hid them to ensure the right kind of change. Through the neural link, Sarah accessed the ship's historical archives, sending the data to both the Horizon and the Hegemony vessels. The predecessors discovered something that your civilization and the Council have forgotten. Technology without wisdom isn't progress. It's just sophisticated destruction. The chamber filled with new images, worlds torn apart by technological warfare, civilizations that had advanced beyond their capacity for empathy, species that had engineered themselves into evolutionary dead ends. The predecessors had seen it all, had learned from each failure. That's why they waited. Sarah continued, understanding flowing through her like a river. Not for the most advanced civilization, not for the most powerful. They waited for a species that still remembered how to dream, how to empathize, how to see beyond the immediate tactical advantage. The Hegemony ship's weapons remained charged, but Sarah could sense uncertainty in their formation. The data they were receiving challenged everything they believed about technological progress and civilization. What you're suggesting is impossible, Admiral Kex responded, but their voice had lost its edge of certainty. No species can be trusted with this level of advancement without proper controls. Sarah smiled, feeling the ship's consciousness merge more deeply with her own. That's exactly what the predecessors wanted to disprove. Look at your sensors, Admiral. Really look at what these ships can do. If we wanted to force the issue, this confrontation would already be over. The chamber's displays shifted again, showing the full capabilities of the fleet. The Hegemony ship's sensors registered the power readings, and their formation wavered. Instead, Sarah continued, "We're offering something else, a partnership." The predecessors didn't want their legacy used to dominate. They wanted it used to elevate, to connect, to build something greater than the sum of its parts. Through the neural interface, Sarah could feel the ship's approval. This was the test, not whether humanity could operate the technology, but whether they could understand its true purpose. "You're proposing cooperation?" Admiral Kex asked, disbelief evident even through the translator. "With technology of this magnitude at stake." "I'm proposing evolution," Sarah replied. The predecessors believed that true advancement only comes when different perspectives unite toward a common goal. They left us their knowledge not to make us powerful, but to make us wise. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never seen a gathering quite like this. Representatives from the Hegemony sat alongside council members, their traditional rivalries temporarily set aside in the face of something far more significant. At the center of it all stood Sarah Chen, the neural interface now elegantly integrated into a ceremonial headpiece that symbolized humanity's new role as bridge builders between past and future. "The predecessor fleet represents more than just advanced technology," she explained, as the chamber's holographic systems displayed the incredible developments of the past month. "It's a blueprint for a different kind of future." The ships had already begun sharing their knowledge, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of providing ready-made solutions, they offered insights that allowed each species to develop along their own unique paths. Human creativity, combined with hegemony precision and council wisdom, had already led to breakthroughs that none could have achieved alone. "The quantum resonance patterns are stabilizing across all 17 vessels," Yuki reported from her new position as head of the Joint Species Research Initiative. "The neural network is adapting to accommodate multiple species' consciousness patterns." That had been perhaps the most surprising discovery. While human minds had been needed to wake the fleet, they weren't meant to be its only pilots. The predecessors had designed their legacy to evolve, to learn from and incorporate the strengths of every civilization it encountered. Marcus stepped forward, his medical expertise now focused on understanding how different species' neural patterns could work in harmony. The successful integration of hegemony analytical processes and council quantum consciousness theories has exceeded all projections. We're not just learning to use the technology. We're learning to grow beyond it. Ambassador Xerith's crystalline form shimmered with patterns of approval. "When we first discovered the dormant fleet, we saw it as a prize to be claimed. Now we understand it was actually a gift to be shared." Through the neural interface, Sarah could feel the vast network of consciousness that now spanned the sector. Human researchers worked alongside former rivals, each bringing their unique perspectives to understanding the predecessor's legacy. The ships themselves continued to evolve, their systems adapting to incorporate new ideas and approaches. "The predecessors didn't just give us technology," Sarah continued, watching as the holographic displays showed the first test flights of new hybrid vessels, designed using principles learned from the ancient fleet, but incorporating innovations from all three civilizations. They gave us a challenge: to prove that different species, different approaches, different ways of thinking could come together to create something greater than any could achieve alone. Admiral Kex, who had once threatened to destroy the fleet, now stood as one of the strongest advocates for cooperation. The hegemony believed that advanced technology had to be controlled, restricted. We were wrong. It needs to be understood, shared, grown. The chamber's displays shifted to show the first of the new joint colonies, where species from across known space were coming together to learn from each other. The predecessor ships hung in orbit above these worlds, no longer mysterious and dormant, but alive with possibility. "A month ago, we thought we had discovered the most advanced technology in the galaxy," Sarah said, feeling the warm hum of the neural interface as it connected her to the vast network of minds now working together. "But the predecessors knew something more important than how to build powerful ships. They knew how to build bridges between different ways of thinking. The Future Development Committee, an unprecedented collaboration between humans, hegemony, and council species, had already begun drafting plans for the next century of joint expansion and research. The predecessor fleet would guide them, not as a superior force showing the way, but as a foundation upon which something entirely new could be built. "We stand at the beginning of something extraordinary," Sarah concluded, looking out at the assembled representatives of three once divided civilizations. "Not because we've been given advanced technology, but because we've learned to see beyond our differences. The predecessors didn't want us to simply inherit their legacy. They wanted us to transcend it." As if in response, the neural network hummed with the combined consciousness of countless minds working together across the sector. Human creativity and intuition, hegemony precision and analysis, council wisdom and patience, all flowing together into something that had never existed before. The predecessors had waited millions of years to find species capable of taking their gift and growing beyond it. As Sarah felt the warm approval of the ancient ship's consciousness, she knew they would not be disappointed. The real journey was just beginning.